Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all keeping well. And now in today's video I want to talk about something that I think needs to be spoken about, and I'm sure that many will be able to relate. And I was inspired to do this video by somebody writing a blog post about what they've experienced, and I've experienced it too on many occasions. But I've always chosen to see the positives rather than the negatives, because if I did that then I wouldn't do something that I love to do and that I enjoy, and it gives me moments that I will cherish for the rest of my life. So what I'm talking about is going to a concert or a show and the accessibility, getting tickets, the seating plans, and just the way that we're kind of treated. So if you want to hear more, then please do keep watching, and I hope you enjoy watching this, as well as inspiring you to use your voice to speak up where things are not quite right and we deserve better. So please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, that would be brilliant. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to click on the subscribe button, and let's get into this video, shall we? So, from the age of 16, I've been going to concerts and shows. The first one was at Manchester Arena, and that was the Smash It's Pose Winners to Party Tour 2001. So it was 19 years ago. So a long time ago, and things have changed, and things do keep changing. You know, nowadays you can get VIP packages as well. But when you're a person with a disability, it's not easy, it's quite complicated. And for me, it's been a bit of an ordeal getting tickets and then VIP packages as well. It frustrates me, because it's supposed to be something fun and enjoyable, relaxing maybe, exciting, but the moments leading up to it are just a nightmare. So when you go to Manchester Arena, you have to get your tickets through the accessibility line. Up until a few years ago, which was probably about 4 years, 3-4 years ago, time just goes that fast, so I'm kind of getting confused. I went to get tickets to see Take That, like a big group in the UK. So I phoned up and they did secure me seats, and they changed it, the way that they were doing it in this accessibility line. You had to register, so you had to prove your disability and tell them what you needed, which is really good, because then once you're on the system, you're already on it. You don't, you just say your name and whatever other details they ask you for, and they find you on the system, and it's brilliant. But for these tickets in particular, they give you a set date of when they need to have, you need to send off this registration form, and I did it in plenty of time, because I panic about things like that, make sure that things get back in time. But because they took so long to get back to me, they didn't do that in time, it meant that I lost my tickets, and I was devastated, because at the time I was really loving Take That. I'd been to see him on the circus tour, progress tour, and then, but that's not the moral of the story. Yeah, I was gutted. For every person that they've had that's gone to a concert before then or within the last 2 years, I think they should have automatically sent these forms out. Because if you've been an avid goer, attendee of going to shows and that venue, or any venue that has suddenly started doing this new way of doing things, I think they should have automatically sent registration forms out, so that no one will miss out or take away the deadline, because it wasn't my fault that they took so long to get back to me. hey ho. See, when I first started going to concerts, I didn't really know what choice of seat in. Like the first concert, I didn't have a clue what to expect.
I didn't know how big the arena was going to be, how many people there were going to be. I just didn't have a clue. I was a little bit scared. Don't ask me why, because it's that scary.
Well, unless you can see the drop down below, and you can see all the stairs, and when you're afraid of heights,
it's not good.
I've actually, because when you go to the arena, and I presume other arenas are the same, and the main platform is where the accessible seats are, you know, with the wheelchair spaces. And I actually really don't like it. You're so high up. I mean, you're not right at the top, fair enough, but you're still high enough. And if you're afraid of heights, I had one time, I think it's the girls allowed, I just started crying because of the sheer, yeah, it was just really scaring me. Even though I knew I was safe, but that just kind of made me anxious. So I think there needs to be more accessible seats. But then when I went to see
steps,
I actually got asked if I wanted to move seats to seats that were closer because there was loads of seats empty. And me and my sister looked at each other like, okay, well, can I get to them? Where are they? And they said, well, can you transfer to a normal seat? And I said, yeah, even though it's not the most comfortable thing for me, and I do struggle, I'll manage. They actually moved me from that main level, and they took us down on the bottom, like, ground floor, as you call it. And it's on the side, so your stage was here, and then you were here, and I was on the first row there, behind the barrier.
And I could see everything. I just loved it.
The vibration wasn't the same, so I didn't have a headache, because normally I get a headache when I'm up on that main level. And because I was in with I was in with the crowd, but I was safe. I mean, I was able to move around a bit, and I could stand up and lean against the barrier if I wanted to. But I feel like I was able to interact a bit more and be a bit louder and kind of try to dance a bit if I wanted to, and not feel like I was just the only one doing that, because there's not much of an atmosphere up on that level. And I'm sorry if that offends anybody, but when you've been as many times as I have, you'll understand what I mean. Because everybody's quiet and just watching. And obviously many people can't move very well or scream or whatever, but it's my time to be noisy and to be a bit crazy because my favourite band's on or whatever. Because you never used to be able to get to these seats. Since this new system's come out, and I said, well, I'd like to get these seats if possible, and they've got me on this system, so they know what I can do, what I need help with, and they're like, fine. And it's so much easier to do that. No, not every venue, but a lot of venues, a carer just go free, but my local theatre is really complimentary. You'll get like £1, or, a couple of quid off discount, and that's it. Which is pretty appalling. Why should a carer have to pay to go to a show? And why should I have to pay for them when I've got to pay for my own anyway? I just don't think it's fair. And especially for the bigger venues, it's not as if they're going to lose much, because you'll get hundreds of thousands of other people buying tickets, and they're all tiered different prices depending on which tier you're at. Like the golden, the standard pit is really expensive. Ones around the top, I think they're a lot cheaper because obviously you're high up, and they actually look terrifying. But I don't think it's fair that carers have to pay.
Because many carers are there because they're working, not because they want to be.
But thankfully, places in Manchester, they all carers go free. But you only get one carer per person, which is fair enough. But my local theatre doesn't, and I think it's because it's run by the local council. So,
Borough Council, get your priorities right.
You'll get more people with disabilities going if they can take a companion. And then that leads up to doing VIP packages. Now, VIP packages are expensive, and they've gotten more expensive as the last few years have gone on. And it's never said anywhere that carers will go free as long as they don't participate in any of the things involved in the package. Although usually the bands or whoever just kind of include people that have been with me anyway because they're nice people. And I think, well, why not include them? And it's nice when they do that, but I understand that they're not really supposed to do that because they're not paying for that. They're not paying for anything really. They're literally there to help me or somebody who, is doing it. Every venue is different, which is obvious. So what may be accessible in one venue may not be accessible in another venue. In every VIP package that I've done, I've never gotten the full package. Apart from when I went to see Blue, but theirs was there wasn't really a lot to their package. That you got free, I think you got a bit of merchandise, you got a signed picture, then the meet and greet and photo, and then I think you got choice in the first few rows. But I was in the front row anyway because that's where the wheelchair spaces were. And there were some back, I think, at the back. But I got the best view there. I was right in the front, in the middle. And it was just so good to be so close. I know it's disgusting, but you can see them sweating and see how hot they are, like temperature hot, not like, oh my god, they're so hot, oh my god. Not that kind of hot, Well, there might be if you're attracted to them. But you know what I mean, you can see every crinkle in the shirt, or you can see the outfits in detail and the moves that, they do dance routines. And they look at you and they make eye contact with you and they wave to you. So I think it needs to be clear, or they need to set up a separate VIP package for people with disabilities that is, or make it where, for example, I've done 4, so I've done Backstreet Boys twice, which both have been very different. Blue and Adam Lambert, you know, it's all little male. Although next year I'm meeting my first girl group, so that'll be different. Well, because it's girls, but the thing, it'll be like my first Backstreet Boy, where they're all different. Every VIP package is different for every artist. And I think they try and change things up every 2 acts, so it's not the same. And not get a bit boring and predictable. Like the first Backstreet Boys show I did, they had a soundcheck party, question and answer time. And it was in the main arena and we were all like, everyone was like right to the stage. And then the rest of our little group was that were disabled and our companions, carers, whatever, were kind of to the side because we couldn't get to the stage. But I moved back, so I was on my own, and my favourite Backstreet Boy noticed me and he waved to me, smiled at me, and that got me really excited because I was thinking, are they going to notice me here? I didn't think they would. So when I was waved and smiled at, and it happened to be my favourite one, I was very, very excited. And my sister noticed, she was excited for me, knowing how excited I was. And then they were doing the meet and greets and photos. But this one, there was like over 400 doing it, which is incredible. I never expected that many to do it. And there was different packages, so there's like
bronze, silver, gold, platinum.
Platinum, you were able to go on stage at a point in the show while they're doing acoustic songs, and you were just able to sit there. It would be a small group. And then the gold was an individual meet and greet photo. And then silver, which is a group photo, so it'd be like 4 or 5 of us with a group. And then the bronze was just a soundcheck and question and answer party. No, like, meet and greet. And I did the silver. But we were left, because the Backstreet Boys had done so many photos and meet and greets, and then they were disappearing, and we were all like getting worried, thinking, is that it? Have they gone backstage now to get ready for the show? and we didn't know where, everyone was just a bit like, what's going on? But everyone just followed everyone else. And we were we had a guide with us who, member staff from the arena, and we had to chase them to chase what was going on. It was a bit annoying that we had to keep pushing them to find out. I mean, they had walkie-talkies. They saw what was going, they saw what we saw, so they should have checked really. And that was a bit annoying. So anyway, we found out that they went into a small room and they were doing the rest of the meet and greets and photos in there. So everyone was secure. And our group was right at the end. A part of this package, the VIP packages, were that you got crowd-free merchandise shopping. But because of the time we got to meet the group, the doors to the arena had opened because they opened at 6. So we didn't get that. Everybody else did, but we didn't. But on the flip side of that, we got a bit longer with the band. We were able to take our time. The Backstreet Boys were just incredible. My boy, AJ, you know, he was the same eye level as me. I was giving him a gift because he only had he had a 17-month-old baby girl, Ava, at the time. He's got 2 now. And she's 7 now, Ava, which is quite scary. how time flies. So I made a headband for her, and his face just lit up when he realised it was for her. And we just talked a little bit. It was just really, really good. I was so happy. I was on cloud 9 afterwards. But then you kind of, you know, right, time to go, and they need to get ready. They need to do the last 2 or 3. As I was talking about the merchandise shopping and getting food or drinks in the arena or any venue, but in particular the arenas, everybody just crowds around. And like for me in my wheelchair, I'm not the biggest of people. I'm quite small, obviously that's why I call Dinky. I get really anxious when everybody's like around me. I'd get hit by bags in the head or by programs or posters or elbows. Not intentionally, but because everyone just literally shove in front of you, I'm trying to see what's for sale, and it's very hard when everybody's in front of you, not giving you a chance to. It's a nightmare. I really, really wish that they would have a separate merchandise stall for people with disabilities, so we can go, not have everybody in our way, getting in front of us and hurry, you know, try to rush us. You know, we can see what we're buying and not have to rush, because everybody else can see and they can move around a lot easier. It's just a nightmare. So what I always try to do, and I recommend this to anybody, is try and find out beforehand, a day or 2 before you go, to see if you can see what the merchandise is. And then once you know, you just sit back against the wall or wherever it's a bit quiet and let your carer go and get your things for you. And I know some people like to be independent, but in this situation, being safe and efficient and, you know, being easy, just send somebody to get your things for you. But I do wish that venues would have a separate stall for merchandise and for drinks and food, because like I said, everybody just shuffles in front of you. You can't see. And like we've actually not, like, my wheelchair's gone at the back of people's legs, and because you're constantly like moving, it's like a wave, and if someone's pushing behind you, so you've got to keep going. And it's just, honestly, I hate it. So when this crown-free merchandise was part of the first VIP package, I was really like, yes, I finally able to see what I'll get, take my time, but it didn't happen, did it? And when I went to see Blue at a smaller venue in Manchester, they had the merchandise in the main foyer, so that was good. But the food and drink and the lounge area was upstairs, and there's no lift or anything to get up there. So when me, my sister, and then there was another girl and her carer were waiting for our meet and greets, everybody else that were doing it had gone upstairs. So they were all quite chatty and friendly with each other by the time that blue had appeared. Because they didn't meet greet in the foyer. They locked the doors so no one could come into the theatre. And it was very organised. It was much more organised than what it was at the arena for Backstreet Boys. Yeah, and it just meant you had a bit more time. Because you queued up to meet them. And while they signed your picture and say hello and that. And then you queue up again. Which I thought was great. And in between, when they had a little breather, they'd pop behind the curtain and say hi and blow kisses and whatever. They were just like, they're fun. So yeah, it was a bit awkward sitting in the foyer because sometimes an entrance foyer is not always warm. They're a bit drafty. And you get bored, you look at the same thing. There's nobody. It's just really not exciting at all. It's really boring. And there was no seats. So between Claire and this other lady, Carly just had to kind of perch down somewhere on the stairs or somewhere so they could sit. And I hate people standing and talking to me. I want them to be eye level because it hurts my back and my neck to look up and it gets a bit. So if you can sit down and be eye level with me and I can hear better and they can hear me. So I didn't like that. That's really annoying. But there's, apart from the other two, there's just much to talk. Like you know, what I mean, there was a bit of friendly chat, but not a lot. And the funny thing is, at this blue show, this other girl and her carer, they were when I went to see Priscilla Queen and Desert, at another theatre in Manchester, with Duncan James from Blue was playing Tick. This girl and her carer were just near us. But they didn't recognise us, even though it'd only been a couple of months in between. Because this was April and then the Brazilian show was in August. And actually my sister was pregnant. And it was before she announced that she was pregnant. So I knew, my mum and dad knew, and my brother-in-law's parents knew. But nobody else did. So I was a little bit worried about my sister, because obviously I didn't want her to be struggling. I didn't want her to be sick. But yeah, they didn't recognise us. Like, we recognised that straight away. And it hadn't changed that much. Another part of the VIP package that you get is having front row ticket or a standing pit ticket as part of your package. I had it with Backstreet Boys. Excuse me, I had it with Blue, but I got it with Blue because the wheelchair spaces were at the front, so there was nothing bad about that. I don't remember. There was confusion whether I could go down to the where I was allowed to, where part of my package was, you know, front row. We'll go down there and see, but I'm not sure. So we got down. We had to go all the way outside and then in through the fire doors. And we got in there, and there was a bit of room, you know, for me to park up. But the big security guy saw us and he said, "I'm really sorry, but health and safety, you can't be here. You need to be up there with them lot. With other people up there." And I was like, "Oh, but this is part of my package. Look, they've given me the band to wear so that I can, because, you know, it's part of the package." And he was just really apologetic, but I just thought it was stunk. I'm paying this money for that privilege and I can't, because of access issues. Why can't they make it so there's a little platform that, you know, make it safe? I'm sure it can be done. It has to be huge, because in all the VIPs I've done, there's only been a small handful of people in wheelchairs, physical disabilities, whatever. So they could do it. So we had to go back in and up. And we got to, they let us in. And everyone was like sardines. There was a young lad, teenage lad, sat down. He obviously had mobility issues, but he was able to sit down. And he had to stand up so that I could get in, because otherwise there's no room for me. And I got in, positioned in. Catherine couldn't come next to me Like, if I needed something, she had to squeeze between people to get in. You know, Catherine's, you know, she's slim and, you know, very agile. But it's just, you know what I mean? For her, it must have been awkward. Like, she never complains. She never complains. I've never heard her complain. And sometimes I get a bit anxious. I like to be able to see her. And because I couldn't, because she was, like, back there somewhere. It wasn't far, but it was far enough. And obviously when it's dark and it's loud, she's not always going to be able to hear me. So yeah, that was just horrific. Couldn't move my arms out like that. Everyone was just jammed in, and then we had this perspex barrier, which obviously is a safety thing. But if you're little, it drowns out the sound. So I kind of stood up and I had to stand on my toes so that I can see, obviously because it was so hot, it steamed up. So I kind of stood up, which meant that I was the same height as everybody else in the wheelchairs. And so we're like, right, okay, it is what it is. Lights are going down and Adam's about to come out. And all of a sudden, this big crate thing comes up, platform thing, with a man on it doing the lights. And he was blocking our view of Adam. Unless you're right at the end, either end, you couldn't see Adam for the majority of the show. And I will insert a clip so you can see. What I mean. It was just an awful experience, and I felt so sorry for Adam. Because he had no idea. He was up on the stage. And we all complained afterwards. Like, we would talk about it to each other. And we all decided we were going to complain when we got home and stuff. So, and it made the newspapers. And I actually got refunded the concert ticket. I didn't get refunded my VIP. Even though I should have really got a bit back for not being front row. And then, when I went to see the Backstreet Boys last year, I had the option. I could go in the standing pit, but I had to stand. I weren't allowed a chair, not even a folding chair. I had good seats, so I decided to sit down. It was where I sat for the steps, actually. So I was okay with that, but it was a bit like, oh, what do I do, Catherine? What should I do? What do you think? And I was so close to going in the standing pit, but I thought, if my legs need to sit down and it's busy, and it's not going to be safe for me to sit on the floor. But then when the lights went down and they came out, they were half empty. So I couldn't have gone in, and I think people would have been sensible enough to kind of, you know, give me a bit of space so I can kind of sit down and go, can imagine if I was on the floor and they're like, what did they wave to me? That'd be quite funny. That's annoying. When I go to a show next year to see the Pussycat Dolls, I've actually inquired and said, look, because I'm not able to be in the standing pit, is there any possibility of being reimbursed for the price of that, you know, price of that standing pit ticket? And I said, right, well, we'll have to discuss it and we'll get back to you. And they agreed, so that's good. I'm learning, guys. I just remembered a concert that I went to in Blackpool at Winter Gardens, I think it was. And it's seeing another boy band, JLS. I liked them from the X Factor, okay? I don't watch that band anymore, by the way. And had a good seat. I was at the end, but I was only like 4 or 5 rows in, so I wasn't dead far from the stage. And I was excited, my sister was there, and then the lights went down, the band comes on stage, and everybody stands up. But, because obviously they take a seat out at the end of each row that somebody with a disability is on, I've got people standing up in front of me, so it goes in like that. And I remember looking round, there was a girl in a wheelchair behind me. I recognised her from Beaumont, and I knew that she couldn't walk, you know, stand. I don't know if she could stand up, but she couldn't walk. And during the show, I looked around and I just felt so sorry for her. She couldn't see a thing. I couldn't see a thing, but I was stood up on my wheelchair, right, which isn't meant for standing on. I have a motor seat and cushion, whatever, and it's not safe to be standing in a wheelchair, it's for sitting, but it was the only way that I could attempt to see anything. And even then, I was struggling to see because I couldn't stand up properly. And by the end of the show, I was in so much pain with my thighs because the way that I was kind of having to stand and hold on, I was in a lot of pain. And I remember kids would come out to the side because there's a wall along there, and they kept getting told to go and sit back down in the seats. And then I see kids who stand on the seats get told to stand back down. And I remember, like, I watch, my eyes are like a hawk. When I'm at a show, my eyes are like a hawk. And I was just thinking, well, what do you expect? Tell everybody to sit down then. It's not, because I don't think it was a standing show, it was a sit down show. Because I think there, if it's a standing up show, they take seats away. But the seats were there. I just don't have a clue what was going on. I should have got my money back really, because I couldn't see. Right, I'd see the head, one of the heads pop in between heads in front of me, but that was it. And it sounded really, really good, just like Adam did. Like Adam has got, oh my God, his voice. When you hear him live, I remember hearing him doing a sound check. He didn't do a sound check prior, but when we were outside waiting, you could hear them inside pressing, and oh God, that's exciting. And he's so underrated. He's got an amazing voice. But JLS had a really good voice too. And my sister was recording bits of it, so that's how I got to see some of that show. So if it weren't for my sister filming bits for me, I would not have seen any of the show. I know it's definitely not all rainbows and sunshines going to a show or doing VIP packages, but it's nothing against any of the artists themselves. So I am going to leave you. Yeah, please do let me know your experiences and what you think of what I've shared with you about what I've experienced. And don't forget to click on the thumbs up. I appreciate you liking this video. I hope you have enjoyed watching. And don't forget to share. And if you're new to my channel, then don't forget to click on the subscribe button, and don't forget to click on the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. If you want to hear more, then don't forget to let me know. Thanks for watching. Take care.